Back. You're now watching the lifestyle segment on the weekend show brought to you by Holo Crunch Popcorn. If you're in Abuja, you would understand it's raining at the moment. However, in some parts of the country, they've literally been praying for the rains. And this is about climate change, which we have been talking about. Now, how are we ensuring that we can fill in the gaps when it comes to how climate change affects what we do, where we live, and what we eat? I have some brilliant people who are doing amazing work when it comes to climate change and agribusiness. And joining me in the studio, we have Chinwendu Gloria Praise Bassi from the African Food Chain Makers, the program officer. Welcome to the weekend show.
Thank you very much.
We also have Prince Joel from Global Green Glow Farm, the co-founder. Welcome to the weekend show.
Thank you so much.
And joining us virtually, we have Adwang Karen, who is from Kalao Enterprises. I'm the founder and CEO and Urban Organic Farming Organization. Welcome to the weekend show. Thank you. So I'll start with you. Tell me about African Food Chain Makers.
Thank you very much. Just like you said, my name is Gloria Praise Bassi. A program officer at African Food Change Makers. I work on the BRACE program, which is an acronym for Building Resilience Against Climate and Environmental Shocks. So African Food Change Makers was established by Ndidi Munili. She's also the founder for Leap Africa and co-founder for Ace Food, as well as co-founder for Sahel Consulting. At African Food Change Makers, we firmly believe that small and medium-sized enterprises are the lifeblood of the food ecosystem. And these enterprises are led by visionary, dynamic, and innovative entrepreneurs who operate as primary producers, aggregators, distributors, processors, financiers, consultants, chefs, cook. And however, these enterprises are challenged with diverse climate-related issues. And at African Food Change Makers, we support these enterprises by providing them with training, visibility, and a community of support. Our vision at African Food Change Makers is 1 million successful agri SMEs who are transforming the food ecosystem and are being recognized and respected across the globe. And our mission at African Food Change Makers is to enable small and medium-sized enterprises to start and scale resilient agribusinesses that not just feed Africa alone, but the general globe. And we do this, we support these African Food Change Makers, we call them change makers through training, like I said before. And one of the training programs at African Food Change Makers is the BRACE program. Like I said earlier, it's the Building Resilience Against Climate and Environmental Shocks. This program is a 6 weeks capacity development program that was designed to help agri-SMEs understand how their businesses are being affected by climate change, help them to develop strategies to adapt to and mitigate the effects of climate change on their agri-businesses. So this program was launched April 6th, 2023 for the 2023 cohorts. And we received over 1,000 applications and admitted 1,000 participants into the program. We are set to conclude on this program, and with me here are 2 beneficiaries of this program who would be introducing themselves and talk about their businesses and how the BRACE program, which is the Building Resilience Against Climate and Environmental Shocks program, has impacted their business.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's like you've taken over the whole show. I know Ndidi Wuneli. I met her about 10 years ago at a Global Shapers event called Meet the Leader, and I think she's absolutely impressive. I don't believe in mentors, but when I saw her speak, I said if I was ever going to get a mentor, it would be this woman. And so that was when she was still doing Leap Africa, and there was something else she was doing.
Ace Food.
Yes, Ace Foods. But now seeing what's happening with African Food Chain Makers, I think is absolutely interesting. Joel, you are a beneficiary, so tell us about what your organization does first of all. Let's have a background to what your organization does.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Hello, viewers. My name is Prince Joel. I'm the co-founder for Global Green Initiative for Sustainable Empowerment in Nigeria under the trade name Glow Farms. What we do in our organization is to help bridge the gap in good agrarian practices. There is a knowledge gap in what farmers should do at what point. So what our organization does is that we have positioned ourselves to help farmers access the relevant support they need to scale. For example, we enable them have access to organic products to enhance good, practices. The other thing we do, we also support them with market linkages. Research has shown that over 60% of our smallholder farmers will not be able to access markets beyond 20 kilometers of their farm gates. So if they must access premium markets, they will have to rely on the activities of middlemen. And these middlemen activities has been the reason for the low standard of living of our smallholder farmers, low demand diversification, and a lot of all these kind of things. So we come in handy to help them say, okay, look, if you produce well, you produce via standards, you'll be able to access new and premium markets. So that's what we've been doing in the last 4-5 years. We have helped connect these smallholder farmers to markets and then help them access good inputs for their production.
Thank you very much, Prince Joel. We have Adjoang Akot Karen, who is joining us virtually. So Karen, can you tell us about Kalao Enterprises and what you're doing with urban organic farming?
Hi viewers, hi everyone. I am Ajuan Karen Nancy. I come from western part of Kenya in the lakeside city of Kisumu. I founded Karil Enterprises as a waste to value initiative that applies circular pathways to try and get the most value of the resources we have by keeping them at their highest utility for as long as we can. So one way of our circular economy venture is urban organic farming, which is a smart climate agribusiness that recycles food waste using aerobic composting into organic manure for the production of African green leafy vegetables, as well as fruit and medicinal tree seedlings. Our overarching goal is to reduce food loss. So we are building a robust food waste collection and segregation system whereby we collaborate with the local restaurants, hotels, vegetable vendors, and households to collect food leftovers regularly for composting. We also have a demo farm established in the heart of Kisumu town, which we use to actively promote sustainable farming practices among the urban households by training and encouraging them to practice kitchen gardening so that they can organically produce their own food for consumption.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I think food waste is a huge problem all over Africa. We also have the same issue in Nigeria where a lot of our produce goes to waste, sometimes because of bad road network and because of the middlemen and all. But it's impressive seeing what you are doing with changing that waste into making it something which is useful. Can you now tell us how climate change affects what you do with urban organic farming?
Yeah, sure. Environmental degradation due to improper disposal of or open burning of food waste is responsible for global greenhouse gas emissions. Actually, open burning releases large amounts of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, that it leads to more frequent and severe weather events such as droughts and floods. Furthermore, the smoke and pollutants released from the open burning can also cause respiratory problems and other health-related issues for people living nearby. Specifically, we focus on households living in informal settlements in town, which have various sites of burning. So this really affects them, and this will eventually affect the future generations, especially children, mostly. So we are addressing the issue of open burning to mitigate the impact of human activities on global warming and climate change. Our business actually was founded on the desire to contribute to the global adaptation and mitigation of climate change. because we believe that by reducing open burning of food waste through composting, we can use the organic fertilizer to promote organic farming so that we can reduce the carbon footprint.
Okay,
The climate challenges that our business experience is extreme heat. We are in an urban setup, and urban setup has very low tree coverage. That means that there's also less rainfall. And because there's extreme heat, it forces farmers, urban farmers, to rely so much on irrigation using tapped water, which is very expensive. So that is what we are trying to address.
okay. So far, how has the Brace program impacted you and your business?
Yeah, Grace Forward is a godsend initiative. Before I joined Brace program 6 weeks ago, I had very vague ideas on climate change adaptation and mitigation concepts. But now, after this program, I have learned terms that will really help my business. Terms like the climate smart agriculture practices, terms like regenerative agriculture, precision agriculture, carbon farming, cold storage, the difference between food loss and food waste, and how to minimize such. So this is going to be very beneficial to me as an organic farmer, because I will now be able to engage, to use friendly and organic practices that really will support my journey. Also, the resources, support, and education provided by Brace program is going to help my business build resilience against climate and environmental shock. So as a result, my business is going to be able to operate more efficiently and sustainably, reducing its environmental impact, while also creating a more resilient supply chain. Additionally, the provision of networking opportunities will connect my business with like-minded organizations and potential customers. And this is going to help in increasing my visibility and sales.
Thank you so much, Madra and Karen, and I wish you all the best with what you're doing. We will be keeping in touch to know how much impact this has and the sustainability of what you're doing as time goes on. Thank you so much for joining us all the way from Kenya this morning.
Thank you.
I'll come
Thank
back
you
to
so
this.
much.
You're welcome. I'll come back to the studio to you, Prince Joe. And just like I have asked her, the break program, which I actually did some reading about, I think is very important in a time like this. And even for me, who am not in agriculture, but seeing how the country is going, I think everyone should get some interest in some alternative source of income and livelihood. How has the Brace program impacted you and your organization so far?
Yeah, so like I said earlier, there is a fundamental gap in knowledge within the climate change issues. Africa is suffering from climate change issues. 40% of the climate change issues is coming from agriculture. Even though Africa is a low contributor to greenhouse gas emission globally, but the agri sector contributes about 40%, and that's our mainstay. And so why? Because of the practices that we've been doing in the past. The way we conduct ourselves, our practices is affecting the climate change and all of that. So the Brace program has really helped open us up to industry knowledge, practical skills on what to do in the area of production, preparation, distribution, packaging, branding, and all of this. There are protocols to each of these processes. And so we had engagements with some of the best in the industry on what you should do when you are producing. For example, we talked about carbon farming, carbon export farming, which is a very good avenue for young people to key into. What is carbon farming? Is ability to, take the carbon in the atmosphere and then, store it in the soil. And it's big business. It's been played globally, and we are hoping that African young people will be able to begin to deploy some of these things to help, increase their income and all of that. And then, if you look at what's happening today in Nigeria, there's a lot of irregular rainfall, very short, heavy rainfalls. So you cannot even predict when to farm, when it's wet season, when it's dry season. And these things are, if we don't begin to check them, you begin to have more and more of this effect. So our prayers is that our little actions will become stewards of the environment. Our little actions here and there will contribute immensely, to reduction of greenhouse emission, be resilient, and then help increase our productivity. This is what the BRIDGE program is about, and this is what we've been exposed to.
Thank you very much. I'll come back to you to reel this in. Basically, what he has spoken about a lot of climate-smart agricultural practices, which I know the BRACE program focuses on. So do you want to tell us more about why the focus on climate-smart agriculture and how those can be implemented?
Thank you very much. So, we focus on climate-smart agricultural practices because these are the practices that the agriculture and the smallholder farmers as well as large farmers can also adapt to help them mitigate the effects of climate change on their environment. As we all know, climate change is not just a local issue, it's a global issue. So if they implement some of these climate-smart agricultural practices, it will also help them in their own businesses as well as the globe. Let's take an example of precision agriculture, which is one of the climate-smart agricultural practices that they have been taught. With the help of precision farming, you get to know different type of technology in the recent time that can also help you help your production. So instead of trying to manually spray pesticide and all of the chemicals that you need for your crop to grow, you could use drones, and it will help you, first of all, increase production and reduce the time you are supposed to spend in terms of if you are to do it manually. So thank you very much.
I think it's very interesting. I know for a fact that your courses include climate change and your agribusiness, adaptation and mitigation, strategies and logistics, gender and climate, and several other bits over a 6-week period. So I must commend the African Food Change Makers. And I know this program is valued at $1,000. Do they have to pay, or you select them and it's done for them free or subsidized? How does that work?
So it's actually valued at $1,000, but with the help of founders such as School Foundation, they've been able to make this program free for the participants. So it's entirely free, both for the 2023 cohort as well as the 2024 cohorts. So next year, by this time next year, we'll also, not by this time, early next year, we'll also put out a call for application for the 2024 cohorts to also begin the program. And how you get to know about this program is by joining the AFC community, which is the African Food Community.
I wanted to ask, because I'm sure there are a lot of people who are interested in farming, both young and old. And one of the things which I advise people, before you get into anything, try to learn a bit about the space and sector. So how can people contact or reach or find out more about what the African Food Change Makers are doing? Is there a website, a physical office, or social media?
Okay, thank you very much. So for, you can, if you are a farmer out there, or if you are in the food system, you don't necessarily need to be a farmer, but if you are a chef, a consultant, a financier, you can join the AFC community by typing afchub.org. So there you will see a green button that shows you join the community. If you click on the that green button, it will give you a step-by-step procedure on how to go to become a member of the community. And you can also follow us on our Instagram page, which is African Food Changemakers. Type African Food Changemakers on IG, on Twitter, on any of the social media platform, and you will find us there.
Thank you very much. And if you want to find out more about what Joel and Karen and other young agribusinesses are doing, you can get in touch with African Food Changemakers. Joel, do you want to tell us the social media handles for your organization?
Okay, so you can connect with us on Global Green, www.glowfarm.ng, Glow Farms for Facebook, Glow Farms for Instagram, and Glow Farm for LinkedIn as well.
Thank you so much. I don't know if Karen is still with us. I want to share how we can reach for our viewers in Kenya. Karen, so how can people interested in what you're doing across Africa contact you and your organization?
We are on Facebook, and our Facebook handle is Urban Organic Farming, Karel Enterprises.
Okay. Thank you so much, Adjuang, Job Praise, and Gloria Basichinwedu. Thank you so much for all you're doing. Over the next couple of months, we hope to meet some other participants of this cohort, because I think it's important for people to know that these options are available. Not everybody has to just settle in tech or fintech or software development. First of all, we need food before we can even do that.
Exactly.
That's why we need more people from our generation, from the younger generation, even the older generation, to help in agriculture. I remember when the president was talking a lot about corn and farming agriculture during the campaign season. It all makes some sense now. Thank you so much. That's the much we can take on the lifestyle segment. We have a whole lot coming up for you. Aishabi will be talking to our chef, Grace. Ayo is back with sports. Emeka Ozorumba is here with his poetic segment. And after that, we will be having the political segment. So don't go away. We still have a whole lot more for you. See you after this break.